Watch You Want, and thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the IWC Big Pilot's Watch Perpetual Calendar, Cellini limited edition of 50 pieces issued in 2007 for Cellini Jewelers of New York. You can see this IWC Perpetual Calendar 5026 on our website, watchyouwant.com. Purchase it there if you like, and if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now, the key thing about this watch is it lives up to its name. It is a Big Pilot's watch, 16 millimeters thick. This one's not slipping under the cuff, but not just 46 millimeters across the round of the case, a mammoth 60 millimeters from lug to lug. So 46, 16, and yes, 60. This is a Big Pilot's watch in every sense. Now, the surprise is that on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, the titanium construction of this limited edition sets it apart distinctly from the steel, precious metal, and ceramic IWC Big Pilot Perpetuals. Honestly, considering the volume of this case, and it's got about as much volume as the Graf Zeppelin, the watch feels like it's full of helium, or, to continue the Zeppelin analogy, hydrogen. So it has a nice airy, light feel on the wrist, not oppressive. The watch has immense visual presence, clearly designed from the designed in a 1940s paradigm. The B-er that inspired it was even bigger. But back then, the watches were designed to be worn over garb, flight suits, high-altitude insulated jackets, coveralls, and so the style is deliberately oversized. Again, not so much in the modern sense, but more as a design relic of a previous era that inspires these watches. Now, the lugs are immense and beautifully sculpted. What I really like about the watch is that not only does the titanium give the watch a wonderful lightness on the wrist, but it also gives it a gorgeous, almost gunmetal matte finish. Titanium is known as the gray metal in watchmaking, and it lives up to its name here. Now, there is no polish on this case, and I feel that given the sheer size of it, that's a good stylistic choice by IWC. Now, you do see blazoned on the case flank, limited edition of 50 pieces. There is no individual numbering as per IWC's conventional practice. This way, no one gets the good number, no one gets the unlucky number, everyone goes home happy. All of the conventional case elements of the 2002 Big Pilot's watch are carried over in the Perpetual Calendar. That's the lines, the size, the proportions, and the immense screw-down vintage onion-style crown. Now, it's a true pleasure to use. You screw it down so it does have 6 ATM water resistance, which for a pure aviation-themed complication is pretty generous. Now, the watch also features blowout protection. Yes, even at this level, even at this complication level, even in the case of a boutique limited edition, it still retains that classic IWC decompression safety. So the crystal will not pop out, the seals will not pop out of the crown tube. It is a wonderfully engineered watch in that sense, but the main event is the Perpetual Calendar. Now, IWC uses its caliber 51612 here. It beats at 3 Hz, so 21,600 vibrations per hour, and all indications are coordinated and controlled exclusively through the crown. This is the famed Kurt Kloss Perpetual Calendar module, debuted in the mid-80s and refined ever since. It allows you to keep the date, the day, the month, the year, the decade, even the moon phase completely in sync, and adjusting each if the watch should ever stop and lose track of the date. You simply adjust the crown in the second setting position, and by adjusting the date, you'll advance all of the indications in sync. It's as easy as setting a quick set Rolex date. Now, the watch does have all of the elements of a Big Pilot watch in addition to the elements of an IWC Perpetual Calendar. So I want to give the watch a little bit of a shout out. I've been doing Lume shots on some of the more interesting watches that I've brought through, and this one being a pure instrument styled watch, I want to give it its little moment in the sun, or I should say the dark. Just give me a moment to charge it up. And now we're flying instrument style. Okay, so now the watch, featuring immense broadsword hands and loomed indices, really stands out in the dark. Now, it's not over-loomed, it's not a circus like some dive watches or just about every Panerai, but it is abundantly legible, and you can see the cardinal 4 points, so you know exactly what time it is, day or night, and it has a nice distinctive look to it too, especially with that immense triangular index up at 12. This is a watch that satisfies night or day and all the spaces in between. So we're going to come back into light now. And to continue the aviator's theme, we're back to visual flight rules off of our instruments. You can see that the watch features a movement that's as entertaining as the dial itself. Now this one still has the IWC original manufacturer sticker on it. So for the sake of the next owner, I'm going to leave that in place, but I'm going to call out some of the highlights. Now this movement, featuring 64 jewels, bidirectional automatic winding, is almost like a catalog of IWC's best hits. You've got the Kurt Claus Perpetual Calendar module. Continuing the hit parade, you have the IWC 50,000 series, pioneered at the turn of this century, so the turn of the millennium. It was simultaneously the replacement for the IWC caliber 89s and 85s. As such, it has immense pocket watch span, like a big manual wind pocket watch caliber, but also automatic winding with the Peloton system. That's important because it's an IWC design sort of, I would say, classic, but if it weren't still so contemporary, efficient, and effective, it would almost have a little bit of a vintage vibe to it. But being one of the few shock-protected automatic systems in the industry, it remains at the absolute forefront of technology and practicality. And you can see the little pawls that wind in both directions right there. That's actually the heart and soul of the system. It also uses jeweled cams to advance the mainspring barrel, which holds an abundant, turning to the mainspring barrel, an abundant 7 days of power reserve. Now, the watch could store 8 days of power reserve, and it was designed as such, but IWC actually designed the movement to close off that last day of power reserve and stop the balance, because it only keeps optimum time for 7 days through the mainspring wind. So 8 days of power reserve in theory, 7 days of precision timing. IWC makes sure you get all of that and only all of that. Now, it is a free sprung balance, immense, beating at 3 hertz, so 21,600 vibrations per hour. But what you can see, the free sprung balance, very rugged, shock resistant, resists timing deviation due to displacement or disruption on the wrist. It also has a Breguet overcoil hairspring, so regardless of what position you're wearing it, what position it sits on the dresser drawer, it's going to maintain excellent isochronism and position, or rather precision in any position, and that's one of the benefits of the Breguet and overcoil hairsprings in general. Now, all of this is IWC manufacture, from the complication to the base movement itself, and in this rare, wonderfully light Cellini limited edition titanium, guys. It's a true best of all possible worlds. Legible, complicated, practical, and fun. You can see this IWC Big Pilot's watch Cellini limited edition in titanium on our website, watchyouwant.com.